Om Om Sehna Vavatu Sehna Bhunaktu Sahavidyam Karvavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Vitvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay, so we are back on Saturday to read our Tattvabodha book. So we are on chapter 20, I guess, page 180. Is that right?
Yes, Acharya.
So today, before we start reading, I want to have a little chat with you all. I want to ask all of you, what have you understood so far about this book? What is the subject matter of this book, and what is your understanding so far about what we are reading? And I will ask each one of you, just to be sure that the message is conveyed and received well. Ritu, can you share? What is the subject of this book and what have we read so far?
So, Acharya, what I am learning is means we want to know the true nature and true self of ourselves only. Means what are we assuming, and these things are incorrect. For me, many things are like that. So it's just knowing, uh, and slowly, gradually trying to grasp few things, means absorb, going near the truth.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Just be conscious of what we are reading. If you are making notes, very good. If you are not making notes, but be in touch with the subject matter. Aditi, do you want to share?
Basically, what is the matter that is holding us, or what we are exactly? Much beyond the identity that we have got, or the self that we developed in our process, in our life journey so far. So what is that we are composed of? What is that we are coming from? What?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Kapilji, aap bataiye. Can you share, please?
Sure, Acharya. For me, it's like unveiling of the various layers. It's like a lamp covered with various layers of cloth. So from darkness to light. So every time in this text, Adi Shankaracharya is taking us more inside. So from the various waking states, now we are getting into the sheaths. So it's all getting inside, and it's an unveiling for me. So
yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
So
fair enough. Who is next? Anulata? Oh, she disappeared. She is not online, maybe. All right, it's okay. If she is not there, not there. Well, the idea is that Tattvabodha, as we have discussed right in the beginning, is the text introducing the spiritualism. So it is chiefly for those who are trying to seek what is spiritualism? What are we? Who are we? How is the world around us? What is that all the manifestation around us is made of? So if you recall, we started with it also mentioned about the origin of the universe or cosmos, the Panchikarna, 5 different subtle elements and gross elements. Then it spoke about the element of gross universe and spoke about 3 state of consciousness. And now it's going to talk about the 5 covering or 5 sheaths. The idea is preliminary. This is based on the philosophy of non-dualism. That means not other, which means oneness, which is known as a Advaita Vedanta. So we are mainly following the philosophy or knowledge based on the non-dualism or Advaita Vedanta. Remember, there are parallel other philosophy, other understanding as well. We cannot ignore them. But right now, our subject matter is to deal with that the whatever supreme frequency, energy, God, whatever name we give, is nothing other than ourselves, yeah, our higher self. So to derive to that point, to come to that conclusion that not only I am the consciousness or pure consciousness of Brahman, but all that I perceive, all that I can see or perceive, all my sense organs can perceive, is also made of the same consciousness, same energy. Also, at the same time, it is not that we are made of that, we are in that consciousness. There comes the element of space or Akash Tattva. What is that Akash? What is that space? It's nothing but that supreme energy, that frequency, that consciousness. So we are in that, and that same consciousness is within us. And therefore, there is no difference between micro level existence and macro level existence. So based on this, the author or the sages wanted to convey the message of oneness, that we are all connected with everything. There is no separation, there is no other. It is one pure consciousness. So to derive to that conclusion, there are different approaches. And so Tattvabodha talks about those different approaches. And the Shankaracharya had a way of narrating or explaining it in the manner of negating. So to negate what we are not, and then come to a realization that if we are not the body, if we are not the mind, if we are not the prana, if we are not the intelligent, what are we? Who are we? So that's the question Sankara is emphasizing upon. So that is why the best method of reminding ourselves of the subject matter is to each day, before you start reading or we start talking about this book, try to study or read the index. So if you open the content of this book or the index of this book, it does talk about different subject matters or titles of each chapter. It reminds you what this book contains, what knowledge. All right. So let us continue reading from page 180. All right. Please wait. I have to. Okay. So here we go. 5 sheaths. There is a quote by Sri Ramakrishna: "The indivisible Satchit Ananda, I see it both inside and outside. It has merely assumed this sheath, meaning the body, for a support and exists both inside and outside. I clearly perceive this. I see you all as so many sheaths, and the heads are moving." This is a statement of Sri Ramakrishna to emphasize that all that we see, all that we perceive is nothing but cover, a sheath. In the previous chapter, where three bodies were mentioned, the kosas or sheaths have also been mentioned. Tattvabodha, the discussion on sheaths is begun here. What is sheath? It is covering, a jacket, just as swords are kept in the sheaths. The Atman is enveloped by 5 sheaths. These 5 sheaths are divided into 3 bodies, or the 3 bodies are divided into 5 sheaths. These are different ways of looking at the same reality. The idea of the 5 sheaths is in the Vedas. In the Taittiriya Upanishad, these 5 sheaths are called 5 Atmans or cells. Instead of Kosa, the term Atman has been used. The Annamaya Atma is, however, considered the final attainment. It is perhaps from such Vedic concept of 5 sheaths that the Kosa idea has been developed. The Panchadasi says that the sheaths are like a cave in which truth is hidden. It is possible, it says, to know Brahman or truth, which is hidden in this cave. The 5 sheaths are like layers. The outermost is the food sheath, while the innermost is the blissful sheath. What are the 5 sheaths? The food sheath, the life force or vital sheath, the mental sheath, the knowledge sheath, and the blissful sheath are the 5 sheaths. So they are known as Annamayakosa, the kosha, gross body which is made of anna, food, Annamayakosa, Pranamayakosa, Manomayakosa, Vigyanmayakosa, and Anandmayakosa. So Vigyanmayakosa is equivalent to the intellect, the buddhi. Sri Ramakrishna explains the 5 sheaths beautifully. So here he gives an example or narration of Lord Chaitanya. So he calls Chaitanya experienced 3 states of mind. First, the conscious state, when his mind dwelt on the gross and the subtle. Second, the semi-conscious state, when his mind entered the causal body and was absorbed in the bliss of divine intoxication. Third, the innermost state, when his mind was merged into great cause. See, the word used here, great cause, is indicating the Brahman, the supreme energy. This agrees very well with the 5 kosas or sheaths described in Vedanta. The gross body corresponds to the Annamayakosa and the Pranamayakosa, the subtle body to the Manomayakosa and Vigyanmayakosa, and the causal body to the Anandmayakosa. Mahakarana, or the great cause, is beyond the 5 sheaths. That's important. So we have spoken about 5 different covers or 3 different bodies covering the consciousness, covering the self. But there is something which is beyond these 3 bodies or beyond these 5 covers, which is the pure supreme consciousness or energy or Brahman, whatever you call it. So that is important to understand the difference between the Atman or individual Jivatma and Paramatma or the supreme energy, Brahman. Yeah. Now, that is why it is said it is beyond 5 sheaths, which means nothing can cover it. Because everything is because of that. We continue. This agrees very well with the 5 kosas or sheaths described in Vedanta. The gross body corresponds to Annamayakosa and the Pranamayakosa, the subtle body with Manomayakosa and the Vijnanayakosa. The causal body is the Annamayakosa. Mahakarana, the great cause, is beyond the 5 sheaths. When Chaitanya mind merged in that, T capital that, in that, he would go into Samadhi. This is called the Nirvikalpa or Jada Samadhi. Remember, there are 2 phrases used, Nirvikalpa Samadhi and Sakalpa Samadhi. So there is a difference of Samadhis. One, when the yogi or jnani is easily merged into that frequency or that energy, is while conducting their day-to-day activities, but yet they are all the time conscious about who they are. So that's Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So you are in the state of awareness of you, and everything else is pure consciousness. Sakalpa Samadhi is that when you are sitting for Dharana, Dhyana, and then without any effort, you are into the grace, that you receive the grace and you experience the Samadhi. Yeah. So that's the difference of Samadhi. While conscious of the outer world, it is explaining, while conscious of the outer world, Chaitanya sang the name of God. While in the state of partial consciousness, he danced with the devotees, and while in the inmost state of consciousness, he remained absorbed in Samadhi. And this is Nirvikalpa Samadhi, which means you may continue doing all your activity, but within yourself, you are absolutely aware, in awareness or in consciousness, that you are that consciousness. You are the Brahman. You are the God. And that's when you are in the world, but you are not made of the world. Yeah, that means all the manifestation, all the activity of this manifestation does not bother you, does not disturb you, does not divert you from that consciousness, that awareness. So the first sheath is the food sheath, chapter 21. Karma Yoga is very hard indeed. In the Kali Yuga, it is extremely difficult to perform the rites enjoined in the scriptures. Nowadays, man's life is centered on the food alone, says Sri Ramakrishna. So now in this chapter, initially, it talks about different experiences of different masters. For example, the first, it talks about ever blissful saint. Now this is a story of a sage called Saraswati. It's known as a Sadasiva Saraswati. He was sitting in a Dharana Dhyana, and then he received the grace, and he was into the Samadhi, which he did not realize, and he did not know that he is in Samadhi. And time passes, and the time and space did not worry him, because he transcended the body mind faculty. So that's the example of this saint, that the workers were digging the sand at the river side, and suddenly they struck something hard, and they realized they have cut off the arm of a man, and the fresh blood was flowing out of the arm. And when they had further digging done, they found a man walking out of the sand, He was buried under the sand of the riverside, and he walked out and smiled at people and said, "Look, I have no idea where am I and what am I doing. I was meditating and then I don't know what happened." And he walked away. So he was into this Kalpa Samadhi. He went into meditation and Samadhi happened. So this is the emphasis on the arm or the body. He had no value, he had no awareness of his existence because he was in trance mode. Then second example is on the page 184, sages and their struggle. I would rather read this because this contains something important. The rishis of old attained the knowledge of Brahman. One cannot have this so long as there is the slightest trace of worldliness. How hard the rishis labored. Early in the morning, they would go away from the hermitage and would spend the whole day in solitude, meditating on Brahman. At night, they would return to the hermitage and eat little fruit or roots. But in Kali Yuga, man, being totally dependent on food for life, cannot altogether shake off the idea that he is the body. So this book is trying to explain why in different point of time the sages or yogis were able to walk away from their activities and sit in meditation for a long time and attain samadhi or grace is received, because for them the existence of gross body was the last of the priority. If they could find a food to eat, they would eat. If they don't find, they will still survive as the skeleton, as the body, as the outer cover, because their entire focus, awareness is to realize that they are the pure consciousness. But with the change of time, as it says, current age, the food has become very prominent. And so for that, the different activities are undertaken only to earn the bread, a livelihood as we call. The greatest hurdle perhaps for us in attaining Brahman or truth is our dear body. We cannot give up identity with the body as it were. The Vivek Chudamani says that as long as one does not give up identity with the body, one has no hope of liberation, in spite of his being a great Pandit. Therefore, the book says, never consider the body to be Atman. If you do, it will be like taking a shadow for the real thing. All troubles are because of you confuse the body as the Atman. So Vivek Chudamani is another masterpiece of Sri Shankara. He quotes that as long as you identify yourself as this body, you have no chance of knowing your real self, your higher self. So that is why the approach of negation is taken, to make sure that you realize that you are not this body. Because one thing fundamental, what is real? Real is something which is permanent, eternal, omnipresent, omniscient. Now, is our body eternal, omniscient, omnipresent? No. Is our mind? No. Our intellect? No. So as we start negating what we are not, then we have dissolved the question. We may not find the answer. We still have not come to the conclusion of our real self, our real essence, but we try to be sure that what we are not. That is the approach. The body is made of food, as doctors declare. Our body is in accordance with the food we consume. If our food is good, the body will be healthy. If we eat poor diet, the body will be weak. This far the scientist can go. The spiritual person goes further. He adds that pure food brings a pure body and impure food does otherwise. We have discussed pure food earlier. The other aspect of pure food is that it is offered to God and partaken as prasada or sacramental food. It is not true that non-vegetarian food is bad or that it is rejected in the scriptures. Sri Rama, Sri Krishna, and almost all avatars were non-vegetarians, and Arjuna too was one such. What Krishna meant in Bhagavad Gita was that the food which is defiled should not be offered or eaten. So here it briefly touches the point of the usual understanding that pure food is only vegetarian food. And what is pure food to start with? What when we say pure food or sattvic food, what is it? What makes the food pure? What makes food sattvic? That is trying to explain. And also the revelation here is that it's not only vegetarian food as a pure food. So according to the literature of the Shastras, there is a mention of, and that is what we mentioned here, the different avatars or reincarnations of the energy Brahman were not pure vegetarians. They did not eat only vegetarian. So the concept of vegetarian being pure food and non-vegetarian is not a pure food is discussed here. So it further says, eating pure food. Sri Ramakrishna says, both the Vedas and Puranas describe pure food and conduct. He quotes Guru Nanak as says, so there is a mention of Guru Nanak here. Who mentions it? Sri Ramakrishna talks about Guru Nanak. Sri Ramakrishna mentions, Guru Nanak says, Nanak once said, I was about to eat the food of unholy people when I found it stained with blood. Now that's defiled. That is how it is qualified, classified as defiled. It is for this reason that our food should be pure. Pure food makes pure body and pure mind. If the body and mind are pure, one can easily concentrate on God or on the higher self. What is pure food? The scriptures say that the food which is not defiled by prior eating or impurities like hair, dirt, and so on is pure. That food which is cooked by devotee is pure. That food which is earned by noble means is pure, and so on. Food is therefore vital to spiritual aspirants. It is not it is not to appease the hunger that we eat, but to lead spiritual lives. Moreover, food should be taken in such a way that it is conducive to sadhana. We must eat food like taking medicine, says the saint. So these are the simple understanding of your existence of this body, and to have sustained this body, the food is important. However, as far as possible, consume the food which provides you, which gives you healthy body and healthy mind. Is the food sheath essential? The food sheath is impermanent. Its span is at the most 100 years in the case of human beings. Why should it be there at all if it is impermanent, changing, diseased, and helpless? We have discussed this issue in the physical body chapter. Our bodies are the gift of our karma. Very important. try to repeat this or contemplate. We have discussed this issue in Physical Body chapter. Our bodies are the gift of our karma, and when the karma is exhausted, we shall be released from them. Secondly, bodies are meant to strive for realization. Thirdly, bodies are meant to work. Fourthly, bodies are meant to know we are all one. All creation is one. Even physically, all are one, because it is the five elements which are made all the bodies, and the five elements are product of avidya, of Maya. Very significant paragraph. I would rather request you to read it again and contemplate. What is the food sheath? That which comes into being owing to the essence of food, that which is sustained by essence of food, and that which decays or goes back to the earth, which also is of the nature of food, is called food sheath, the physical body. Yeah, this definition of the gross body, that sorry, that which comes into being owing to the essence of food, that which is sustained by the essence of food, and that which decays and goes back to earth, which also is of the nature of the food. The contents of food sheath. The Vivek Chudamani says skin, flesh, blood, nerves, tendons, fat, marrow, bones, and waste. This is what the physical sheath is made up of. What we did in the past has made this body in this manner. We get attached to it. And while we are awake, we get totally involved with the body. The constituent of this physical body of the human being too have been studied by ancient Indian medicine experts thoroughly. They had more than 100 types of instruments for surgery. It is said by modern researchers they could do difficult surgeries with success. They could cure several diseases which were considered complicated even till recently. All the different beings, their physical bodies ultimately come from food only. So the body comes into existence, nourishment makes it grow and develop. When the body dies, it finally becomes food to other, or food to the earth. So everything pertaining to the body is made of food. Hence, it has been called the food sheath. Why is the body important? This outermost shell or covering envelops the outer four coverings, and thereby the Atman. Through sadhana, the outer covering is restrained. The inner covering too are controlled, and thus the self becomes revealed as capital, higher self. Thus the self becomes revealed. Sri Ramakrishna says, after attaining knowledge, some people give up their bodies. After the gold image has been cast in the clay mold, you may either preserve the mold or break it. See, the significance of the body is discussed here. And also it says that some yogis in past or even now, they realize that the body is meant, first of all, body is the result of our karma. Yeah. Whatever our karma, we get our body accordingly to help fulfill, complete our karmic account. Once our karmic account is nullified, is closed, and that happens only when you attain the awakening or self-realization or liberation, as we know, that you know who you are, and then the purpose of this body is not realized, not really necessary. And therefore, many yogis choose to give up their body as it is of no use after getting the liberation. That is the use of this body. We think our bodies are ultimate things in life. They are not. They are only instruments which help us to know the truth. Once the truth is known, the outer covering of clay will fall by itself. Yeah, so I guess we end our reading here for today. And next we will start with chapter 22. So I will ask all of you to share your views or your comments or your questions if you have. We spoke about the
So,
first.
on one hand, there is a realization, Acharya, that
I don't see
our
Aditi.
body,
Can you? Oh, yeah. Okay.
our body is composed of food on one hand. So, for many people, food is a very, very important thing in life. And on the other hand, we also see that it is just, uh, when we say just, it is a big thing as such. It is an instrumental thing for us to attain the knowledge. So, how to explain our being too much indulged in food?
You see,
Why is the food so important? Now,
it
on
is
one hand,
important.
we are saying that yes, it has to be pure, earned with good intention, but at the
Yes.
same
So
time,
you see, you probably could eat. I'm just talking about the pure food and not pure food. Yeah. A very simple example I would think of is people like to go out to eat, let's say once in a while or on the weekend or on holidays. What is it for? Just for a change, because you are eating food at home every day. So you want to have a change. It's not food alone, but the surrounding and the people that you go with, etc. Anyway. But imagine situation when you have to eat every day outside food. Every day. Every meal is eaten outside, not cooked at home. What would be your tendency? Example, a student living in a hostel eating the food throughout his whatever period of time he is in the hostel, he's eating the food made by somebody in the kitchen of the hostel. He's looking forward to eat at home when he returns back family. Yeah, isn't this true? We all have experienced one way or the other. When you are traveling, if you're traveling for a period of, let's say, longer period of time, and therefore you are eating all the time outside food, but you are longing to get back and, whatever you call homesick or whatever you say. What is that? The difference is, without our being aware of it, our subconscious mind knows the food, the purity of food. When you eat outside, it may be the material point of view, it is pure. I'm not saying that what you eat outside is impure, but the intention or the affection or the desire is not there. Food cooked at home usually is with the attitude of serving food to the family and friends, and therefore there's some amount of affection, love, yeah, and wellness of whoever eats. You go to the restaurant, the chef or the cook in the restaurant does not bother about your wellness. He cooks for everybody. If you can have it or you cannot have it. So therefore, the pure food, as it says, is also because what goes into the food. Number one, the material part of it. Second, the intention while cooking. That makes food pure or not pure. Third, defiled, it says the word, that unless the food is offered to the higher deity or the, if you believe in that, then you take part of it as a prasad, because it is test. We mentally condition that we assume that consciousness which pervades everywhere has tested that food, has eaten the food which you have cooked, and then you are taking it, part of it, yeah, and so it is the prasad, which means it is after offering it to the Lord. These are the other different manners in which it is explained the food to be pure or not pure. Second thing is, what is necessity? As long as we are in our mundane activity and without being fully aware that we are not the body alone. The purpose of this body, as it very clearly says, and it is, I can go on explaining and giving examples about so many such live examples. How do we get this body? Why one is born with certain features, certain, or some people are born handicapped, born with one's eyesight or whatever, defect bodily. It is direct effect of your karmic account. Yeah. So the body is designed based on our karmic account, and the body is necessary for the subtle body, Jivatma, to close the karmic account. We know that there are 3 phases of karma: Sanchit karma, Prarabdha karma, and Agami karma. Now, nobody knows when it all started, but people can come to conclusion only time when you are so clearly conscious that you are not the body, mind, intellect. You are only consciousness. You are only Brahman. And not only you, but everything else. When you are in that awareness all the time, only then that so-called awareness, liberation, self-realization is attained. Till the time, body is important, because without this body, Jivatma cannot close the karmic account. Whenever we have time, in future, we will talk about what is after this body dies. Where does the Jivatma go? What is the existence of that Jivatma? What is that frequency? Why that life is considered much more important than this life? That's a long, different subject, but food sheath is important for only 2 reasons. To close the karmic account, because we need the body. Second, to realize during this lifespan, the Jivatma has to come to a conclusion that I am not Jivatma, I am Paramatma. I am not the Atman, but I am the spirit. I am not soul, but the spirit. There is a difference between soul and spirit. So to realize that, we need the body. When the body dies and when the Jivatma, the frequency of different frequency, only the subtle body exists, subtle body cannot close the karmic account. Subtle body would not be able to drop the other elements of ego, memory, and fear. To delete that, we need gross body. Only when we delete ego, memory, it's in Sanskrit it says samskara. Samskara is also total of our memory plus our impressions, experiences, impressions. All that has influenced us have to be deleted, have to be dropped. All what we have learned throughout our lifestyles, throughout our lifetimes, various lifetimes, all that we have acquired have to be dropped. And that is moksha. That is, but that cannot be done in subtle body. That can happen only with the gross body. And that is why many sages, saints who choose to take the body, and we call it reincarnation. It's not for their selves, it is for people like us to understand from them, the ascendant master as it is known, that they realize the importance of this lifetime that you have. It is in this lifetime, with this body, you can either realize who you are or continue to remain in ignorance and take another body after this body is died or dead. And that is why the cycle of life and death, because we continue to remain the conscious of our body mind. The example, very good example, is Gautam Buddha, Siddhartha. Siddhartha attained the liberation and become Buddha. It happened during his meditating state when he was doing meditation under a particular tree and he got awakened. But it did not happen just like that. He had spent many hundreds and thousands and millions of lifetime earlier when he was progressing. He was climbing the ladder of spiritual evolution. It is at that point in that lifetime when he had come to the last rung of the ladder, because he has learned throughout different lifetimes. Who knows? It could be us. It could be anybody. We do not know. The only awareness and knowledge that we have to have is to be conscious about what we are not. So indulging in the food is all good so long you keep your body healthy and not only body, when I say body and mind and emotions must be healthy. Mind and emotions are more important than your physical body. If you're mentally and emotionally not healthy, it will reflect on your body, and then all three are not healthy. So, and the food plays an important role. That is why we know there are sattvic food, rajasic food, tamasic food. People who indulge into very, let's say, spicy food, for example, the tendency is the short temper. At the same time, people who are eating, let's say, food like, for example, sattvic food, fruits, or something that grows around you, and it does not have to be used with all fertilizers and other chemicals, are considered sattvic food. People who have been consuming sattvic food, the tendency is they're cool, they're quiet, they're peaceful, they're loving. Because that's the quality of the food that you are consuming. If you really study about it, you realize yourself that nobody has to teach you. The day you indulge in eating too many fried food, for example, or spicy food, or fried food, or food cooked by strangers you have never known and you don't know the intention of that cooking, then it may one way or the other affect you. If not same day, maybe in time to come. I guess that's all that I can explain, but if there is anything more, we can talk next time.
Thank you, sir.
These are things that we should be talking when we have face-to-face opportunity in future. There are so many things that we can So let's conclude here. Om. Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityoma Amritam Gamaya Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, God, for giving us air to breathe. Thank you, God, for giving us water to drink. Thank you, God, for giving us sun for energy. Thank you, God, for giving us food to eat. Thank you, God, for giving us water to drink. Thank you, God, for giving us positivity. Thank you, God, for giving us all that we need. Thank you, God, for your love, your protection, your guidance, your blessings. Thank you, God, for the existence. Thank you for giving me a chance to serve you. Thank you.
Thank you, Acharya.
Thank you very much. Make your day beautiful and peaceful and happy and loving. And see you on Monday.
Thank you, Acharya.
Thank you.